Alright, so took a tractor down here, easier for bringing stuff with me. These are my first grouping of sugars that I have. And some ash over there, but these 4 sugars are pretty decent producers. So we have more across the driveway. These are pretty normal, typical New England lined street maples. I'm going to try to get the line set up. So I'll go from this top tree here and then go in between these and just end, I think, right down there. Although I might end in the more of the gully area for the drop line for the barrel. I'm going to leave a lot of extra on the end there. So in the back, we use the back rack to do the Christmas lights too. I need to go and collect a bunch of those. But I have a bunch of the line here, so that'll be easy using this tool rack. And then I use my fly fishing bag because it can hold all sorts of tools. And I've got extra taps and stuff in the front here. Some of the stuff I like to have with me is a regular hammer, my tapping mallet. I like my folding, I think this is called a Sheffield saw, cutters. I use my pruners for a lot of things, and then a bunch of extra taps and things like that. Nice thing about this is, again, we can, all of those drop lines that we prepped can fit in here. I've got all of this stuff, and then I also have all sorts of other tools just in case. I didn't put the chainsaw in, but this does hold the chainsaw. And I do have a first aid kit, which I tend to cut my hands on a lot of things, so that's always a good thing to have. Yeah, so I'm gonna get started on some of the basic line laying stuff, and then not sure I'll tap right now. I gotta get the barrel set up as well, so I need to go make sure I rinse that out one more time. It helps when you remember the tool. This whole purpose is for running line. I just had to run up to the house again. Got the line zigzagged kind of between the trees, kind of running straight through them actually. And what I need to do is actually put this attachment here. It's got a little hook around. And this will loop around this tree, and then we'll have drop lines coming from this tree and that tree onto that, and then it'll zigzag between these other 2 as well. So we use this tool to help put the tubing on and to cut the tubing and add the drop tees. Really hard to show you while I'm out here working by myself, but in the previous sugaring video we did show that. So that is available for you guys to see how Jay did it. I'm just not gonna be that coordinated. But these little stopper ends and hooks seem to be great because they're adjustable. So from all the research we did, this is kind of the best setup, because throughout the season, since we're laying the line out when it's cold, as it warms up, this line is going to stretch a little bit and loosen up. And so at that point, we'll come here and we'll actually slide this outwards, and that'll continue to tighten the line without having to make any other adjustments. So with that, I'm gonna get to work. I'll update you guys in a few minutes. Okay, so I've got the line at a nice downward slope down to, actually it was the stake for our Christmas lights. You can see all the storm mess from a couple of those ice and wind storms we got. Pretty bad. We didn't have a ton of cleanup. But yeah, so we had a stake here. So I just wrapped it around here to try to tighten it a little bit. Now I can go and put those drop lines on, making sure that they're long enough is going to be the problem on this one, because this maple is definitely leaning away from the line, but I didn't want to go around it because that would make a really sharp turn. So that's what I'm doing right now. These aren't small trees. Look at this burl in the bottom. It's pretty amazing. To give you an idea, I can't hug around any of these trees here, and I'm 5'5". So we definitely typically put 2 taps in these. I think this one here was a 3 tap last year, so maybe I'll do 3 taps just to try to get that flow going. But again, I'm not sure I'm going to drill today. Gotta go get that bucket because we don't want the line being squirting out over there with nothing to catch it. So all right, next step is get these drop lines done. Okay, so I have the 2-handed tool set up and the vise grips on each side are locked. I covered the blade back because we've already cut ourselves a couple times with it. I have this T, and you'll notice on the top here, this is actually a, I think it's called a sanitary something stop or something like that. This is not, there's no outlet for that. That's just to hold the tap like this into the spile into there when you're not tapping. So I disconnected it just to do this right now and to show you guys. This is a through T here. So the center line, the tap line, drop line comes in to the T, and then it can go either way, and flow can go either way. So this is a middle T. The T that we're going to put on this tree on the back, I'll have Jay help me with that one later, I think. That would have it's blue to help with making sure you don't use the wrong one. And one of those sides is capped. So it can only go down straight and then out, or straight in and then out. And it still has the stopper. So, so depending where you are on your drop line, determines which T you're going to use. Majority you're going to use these. The top line we use the blue ones with the that doesn't allow the sap to go up the line. All right, so in theory, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. This goes in here, and then I'll be able to close the clamps. So be right back. All right, so now you can see it's over both ridges, and I needed another hand. So now, since we're not tapping it, we're going to put the spile right in this little sanity thing. And so now it's ready, and it's not just hanging there, and there's no air and bugs and stuff getting into that. And so now we can keep going and do the next ones. All right, so I got 6 of the taps in. I gotta get back up to the house, check on the puppies, but I need to do a couple longer ones as I thought, at least one long one for that big tree. And I didn't do the top tree tap. I think we'll only do one on that tree. It doesn't look as healthy as the others. So that should be good. I may actually put one more long tap on this guy too, to get over on this side. I think 3 taps with this size tree is probably pretty comfortable. This is well over probably maybe 2.5 feet in diameter across here. To give you an example, you can see my hand. It's quite wide. So we still have to actually tie this main line in, or ladder line, or whatever you want to call it. It's 5/16. Get out of the snow here. These probably won't run that much until I'd say Friday. Friday's supposed to be 50 degrees, which is crazy. Other than that, it's 20s at night and 40s during the day. So as we get the barrel cleaned up and figure out placement of the barrel down here, and get the line tight, we'll be able to then put the taps in to the trees and be ready for it to start running probably Friday, Saturday. And then I'll make a couple more of the drop lines, just a little longer ones, to have in the tractor, so when we come back down to actually finish this setup, we'll be ready to go. I did cut myself on the tool again, just a little bit on my fingers every time I use that thing. Maybe that's why people don't get the one with the blade, but the two-handed tool is really useful. Once I got going, I did these really quickly. You can see here. When you're putting these on, one thing that we saw a lot of the guys doing was unattach it and see what your range of tapping ability is going to be around the tree, so you can really start to make sure that you're covering that whole tree so that we can reuse these for a couple years. So again, this will get pulled a lot tighter, so there won't be much sag going down towards the driveway here. But pretty happy with getting this part done. It should save Jay and I a bit of time this weekend. Yeah, I'll show you real quick what the other main line area is gonna look like down across our driveway. So this is where the road sort of ends. I think this is still considered a right-of-way for the town, and our property lines this road all the way down. So we'll get Jay to help me move this snow pile, and then we'll be able to drive the tractor down the road. And you can kind of see right there is the first of like 6 sugar maples that are pretty large in size. And then I might put buckets on this one instead. I'm not sure. Running the line from here to that next tree just for this one tree seems like a lot. So I got to figure that out. Actually, you can see it really well, but down in there, this tree here, that's the other really large sugar maple we have. There's a couple more sugar maples up here, a few more back there, and there's a couple more smaller ones, maybe like 8 to 10 to 12 inch diameters. There's some more down further, but we were thinking of keeping with this rock wall that goes along here as a line, and then having the road, old road, goes down here so that they would meet at the same bucket. So more to come when we actually get out there to design that and set it up this weekend. But it will be really fun, and I'm excited to see how that big tree actually produces. All right, barrels all washed out. We had done a bleach and water bath at the end of the season last year, and then another one again last week, and then a bunch of water, rinsing out and leaving the cap off to air out. So I'm gonna try to get the barrel set up right here. I think that gives us enough of a pitch for gravity fed on this 5/16 line, and I've got the drill, so maybe I'll actually tap a couple. You can see the snow is melted actually pretty good around the base of these trees today, and it's supposed to stay warm tonight, like 36 or something like that. It's 40 degrees right now. It's been on and off raining this afternoon. So I expect a lot of the roots will start getting exposed here. Maybe not down on this roadside, but it'll start getting exposed up on the top part by Saturday, because 50s tomorrow. So I'll keep updating you as I go. All right, so when Jay gets home, we'll need to get some bricks, I think, to get that stabilized. But for the most part, it's ready so I can start drilling the holes. We did get an actual maple bits this year. Everyone says how expensive they are. I think it's probably worth the $16 or whatever we spent on them. I wouldn't want to have more issues on the taps at this point. It's one thing if you're doing 5 or 6 taps, it's another when you're doing 30 or more, I think, even 25. So I'm gonna start tapping. I'll probably start tapping at the top and work my way back down and try to keep pulling that line a little bit tighter. It's not that bad. It's just right here at the end here, and Jace might get home and decide he wants to put the barrel right underneath the tree for all I know. So at least we've got options at this point. So I will keep you updated. So about the second tree, so there's a couple things I need to check, and you want to take your time on this part. You want to look for any damage of the tree, bark falling off, anything that could be a cause of concern. You want to find last year's holes. So there's one of my last year's holes, and these holes will go, will stay in the wood. There's a couple different metrics and measurements people use on them, but basically this huge oval all the way around, underneath and above and side to side, is where you do not want to drill. Supposedly, if you drill and you're going to use vacuum and you drill too close to that staining area, it will actually suck air through that cavity. So I've got a hole over there, and then I've got a hole way down over here as well. And so I'm gonna look at where those holes are. I don't want to go right on these cracking burl parts, the widest part here. Grab another thing, and then I'm checking from my line, my tee, how far this can actually reach. So remember when I put those tees in, I did double check on that. So I've got one here, one over there, so I want to go somewhere in between. So I was thinking right about here. It's still above the line from a height standpoint. And it does have this burrow right below it, so maybe I'll go up to about here. It's hard to hold the drill and this. That will give me a good amount of space before, might be about 8-10 inches before this really starts, and it gives me some good space up there above that. I don't want to go too tall, too high, but because this is my second tree and we're up here at the top, I do want to continue to keep it these high, and then I'll go lower as we move down the line, trying to stay above this line, although I've heard it doesn't really matter. I'm still troubleshooting and learning about doing the gravity fed line. So this is a good sign right away. It was pretty clear wood, so that was good. But I did have some sap already drip out of this hole. You can see it's starting to come, so I'm gonna get that tap put in quickly. All right, first tap up here is done. And it did fill up pretty quickly, so that whole tap right now is full of sap, and there's a couple droplets that already came down through the line. Video doesn't want to go in on that, but this is one droplet, and so as the tap releases sap, it also releases air. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. So this drop is kind of stuck here in this valley. But once this gets going, this will push up, and we'll probably pull this one down a little bit so we don't have that much of an angle going back up, or we'll shorten this line. So I'm gonna keep going, but good sign. This is the west side of the tree. But down here on the road, there's not much sun, and as you can see, not much snow gone away from the roots yet, the trunk. But you can see, you want to find, when you drill, you want clear white bits of wood. If you get dark, really dark wood, that's damaged wood, and that tap is not going to run very well. So. All right, I'm gonna keep going. It's getting dark. Okay, so in the time it took me to do 6 holes, the sap is already moving down the line. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. That's the first thing of sap, I think. So it's moving, which is good, and looks like the angle's all right. These all dripped instantly. Pulling here. So I'm gonna bring this down a little bit to try to get this one good. I guess I should have moved this further away, but that will help these first two on these trees. So this is pretty impressive. I already see that much sap in the line in under 5 minutes. It's not a ton, but for the 6 taps, and actually up here it's only these 2 taps. I still need to add 2 more up here. I'm pretty happy with that. So just checking all the lines. Everything I drilled was clear. It was nice and light, so that's good. Looks like this needs to come down just a little bit. You seeing this fill up? That's pretty crazy. And got some sap here. These are running much better than I expected. Usually they're a couple weeks after, so the being down here in the valley, I'll move that down a little bit. It's getting hard to see. Hasn't come out yet. Oh, there it is. There's that first bit of sap. I'm pretty happy with that movement. What a beautiful morning. I have Jace out here helping me real quick on putting on that very top tap. That one will have the plug, so it has the blue T on it. I still need to fix this tap here and move that one to the roadside of this tree, or cut the line to make it actually fit better. Just looking, this entire line is full. You can kind of see. Not moving very well. And the morning light is amazing. So we have now 7 taps on this line. I still need to fix this one that goes down below the line there. I'll have to come back and do that a little later this afternoon. But it is running. It's not running as fast as I want. I don't know. I guess gravity tubing and I need to go back to school for science lessons and vacuuming pressure. So it's dripping, but it's a slow drip right now. And if you move the line at all, the bubbles go uphill instead of down. And really you want it to be pressurized enough for everything to keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. So I'm not really sure what the deal is. A bunch of the drop lines are full of sap, and it looks like there's a steady stream, really small stream coming down a lot of them. I'm just gonna give it another day and see. It's 47 degrees. It did not freeze last night, so it will freeze again. We'll get back to 20s tonight again. So we should have a good run all day long, being early in the season. If it was late in the season, it might slow down, being over 24 hours of warm weather. And the barrel's still holding with my little ice block. So hopefully that does not tip over today. So we'll see, but continue to update you guys on how this goes. These are usually high producing trees once they get going. They seem to be running really well yesterday, and now that we have that top tap in the last tree with the block there on the back side, that just adds another tap. We only have one more tap to add, which is once I fix this one, I'm going to put another tap on the road side of the tree. So yeah, lots for me to learn on the gravity though. Gravity vacuuming. It seems to be trial and error a little bit. It's really interesting. If we're going to main line, a lot of the guys told us, oh, you know, have only like 5 taps on a lateral line. So if this was going to one of those big black tubes, or the big like 1 inch or 3/4 inch blue tubes, this would be as much setup as you want. But then we also saw stuff about using 3/16 or 5/16 and putting 30 trees on it so that it vacuums itself for gravity vacuum. But in theory, this should gravity vacuum to a certain level. There's the pileated. So I'm not really sure. Each tree can produce up to, or average wise, they say, or each tap about 2 gallons a day, 15 gallons total. I know some of our trees have produced well over that in past seasons, so I think it just depends probably on a lot of different factors. So there's a high range and a low range. So either way, we'll have plenty of storage with our 55 or 60 gallon drum here. So that at least is helpful. So I'm not running down here to try to check on buckets. Although this is one of the easier locations because we are on the road now next to our driveway. So tomorrow, it's Friday today, tomorrow we will be getting the evaporator out and finish cleaning that, and probably by Saturday afternoon or Sunday we will be boiling our first sap of the year. So pretty excited.